Saturday, June 4th, Great North Wrestling is going to hit Memorial Center in Smiths Falls, including a Canadian Championship match. Hannibal versus the man who joins us this morning here, former European Tag Team Multiple Hardcore Champion, Al Snow. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, doing fantastic here. And we're going to see you on Saturday. And I know you're from like a bordering state in Ohio. Have you spent a lot of time in Canada over your career?
Actually, yeah. Over the 34 years I've been wrestling, I've been up in Canada quite a few times, and I love it. The fans are passionate, fantastic to come up and wrestle in front of. I love every chance I get to do it.
Now, you're well known and respected as someone who passes on their knowledge of professional wrestling. You just said 34 years there. You've been in it, passing along to younger talent. Do you do a lot of teaching these days?
I do. In fact, I have an academy that I've just opened up recently in England, in London, and have a team of trainers over there who I work with, and then I also host like seminars, where I go from city to city and teach small classes to young wrestlers and things like that. And going to do so this weekend on Saturday in Smith Falls.
Yeah, let's talk about your career a little bit. As someone who grew up watching, most of the wild standout characters of the Attitude Era, Al Snow. You had some different names before that. What do you think made Al Snow stick, the character?
The character, I think, was the relationship I had with Head, which was a mannequin head that I used to carry around and interact with and still do, like they're my best friend, and my instructor and my confidant, and kind of almost like my wife. So we'd argue and fight and make up, and people, for whatever reason, just absolutely connected to that.
And I got to say, one of the more mismatched tag teams was you and Steve Blackman. Was it Head Cheese? Is that what you guys were called?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long it lasted, but that just seems to stick in my mind. Maybe it was just, the age watching it or something. But what's your opinion on comedy in wrestling? Because sometimes it's really good. I thought that was fantastic with the little guy as well, too. Sometimes it's not, though. What do you think about comedy in wrestling?
I think that it's necessary. I think that professional wrestling is kind of like a three-ring circus. There has to be something for everybody, and not everybody can be a badass. If everybody's a badass, then there's no differentiation, and there's no one that stands out. And people have to take a slightly different approach because the audience wants to be entertained, and let's face it, at the expense that it is nowadays to buy a ticket, say, to a WWE show. People don't want to just be entertained for one match. They want to be entertained for the entire 2.5 or 3 hours that they're there, sitting in that uncomfortable seat. And that takes variety. And that takes, sometimes moments that lighten the mood. And then you get serious again. And then you lighten the mood. And then you make them cry. And then you make them laugh again. And then you make them angry. So I think it's great. I personally think it has its place and serves its purpose.
Someone else who is great at all of those things, Mick Foley uses you as a constant punchline. Always, he brings you up in his books, his live shows. Do you ever get to fire any shots back? Do you ever see him to get him back once in a while?
Oh, every once in a while, yeah, I do. And I'll fire back on him all the time. And we call it it's a verbal sparring match.
Yeah.
Like almost like a boxing match, and I got to tell you, I hit him with some serious body blows. Every once in a while, I knock him out. I don't know how many times I've staggered and put him up against the ropes verbally. So
I just want to wrap up with a little rapid fire here. So I guess first thing that comes to mind. All right.
I'll try.
All right. Favorite city to wrestle in?
Favorite city to wrestle in? I would say it would have to be Chicago.
True or false on this one? You were in the movie Rudy.
True.
Okay, we got to expand a little bit on this one. How? What part? What? Explain that a little bit.
I've been in a lot of movies, quite a few actually. But that movie, Rudy, I was a football extra because the NCAA in the United States won't allow the college players to work on in a professional level. So they had to go and find semi-pro football players. And Dan Severin, who I trained for the UFC and for professional wrestling. He knew a friend of his in Michigan that was a coach for a semi-pro team. And the filmmakers reached out to him, reached out to Dan. Dan reached out to me. Next thing you know, I'm in the movie Rudy. And we're in there a lot. Once Rudiger, Sean Astin, tries out for the scrub team for Notre Dame, we're in there the whole time.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to check that out. All right. How about the student or students that you're most proud of? Maybe someone that you had a hand in training.
God, I'm proud of them all. But I have such a long list of students, thanks to my time with my own school in Lima with Body Slimmers, and then with my time with the developmental program for WWE and OVW, and then with Tough Enough. Mm-hmm. I got to be honest, like probably 3/4 of the guys that you see on TV are guys that I've spent time with in recent years, courtesy of being with the developmental program at OVW, from Cody Rhodes to Ryback to CM Punk to Dolph Ziggler, Blue Meanie to Dan Severn to Truth Martini in Ring of Honor, Drew Galloway in TNA, Beth Phoenix, Maurice, Roca, ODB. I can keep going. I mean,
yeah.
Maven, Tough Enough, Josh Matthews, Chris Nowinski, Nydia, Johnny.
Morrison, Mundo, whatever it is now.
John Morrison. Yeah.
What did you quickly? You just mentioned Tough Enough there. What did you think of they changed the format a lot this most recent season here? Did you get to catch any of that, or?
No, I didn't get to catch any of it. I did hear that the format had changed, and a lot of people were, they didn't like it as much. I know a lot of people would remark and tell me that they liked what we had done previously a lot more. I don't know. I couldn't really speak on it because I haven't really watched it.
Yeah, it seemed more like a reality show this time than the actual wrestling. It seemed to just as a viewer. But now, who taught you the most in the business, or a couple of guys?
Well, the guy that trained me, Jim Lancaster, was of course, because he broke me into the wrestling business, and then I spent a lot of time with Mickey Doyle was a great help to me, and taught me a tremendous amount. Being around guys, like Jim Ross and Jim Cornette and people of that nature, you learn a tremendous amount there too. So I've been very lucky because, I've been wrestling for so long. I've been involved in, actually, when I mean in wrestling is I still have been in the ring for 34 years. Not just in or around professional wrestling, but actually still performing. And, I was able to be in when there was a generation of wrestlers that, were from the 60s and the 70s, some even from the 50s. And then watch those guys, move on, and in with the newer generation that started in the 80s through the 90s, and then watched another generation start in the 90s through the 2000s. And, so I've been really lucky to have a lot of experience and to get to do what I love to do so much for as long as I've gotten to do it. I'm really, truly blessed. Not had to work a day for 34 years.
Yeah, that really is amazing. I mean, in a business like professional wrestling, to be around that long is incredible, and just, shows your talent. So just awesome. Al Snow, we're going to see you in Smiths Falls Saturday night for Great North Wrestling. Memorial Center is where it's at. Tickets at the door or at Ticketweb.ca. And last question, is Head making the trip with you?
Head is making the trip with me, yes. If I left without them, they would be very upset. So they're coming along.
Awesome.
Sure.
Al Snow, thanks so much for taking some time to chat today. Watched you for many years, so my pleasure, sir.